Good morning, YouTube 730. Let's roll, baby. Let's get this on.
Every night, thousands of player and team props hit the books. Edgeboard runs every single one through advanced simulations built on years of historical data and services the few with the real statistical edge. Tap any prop to unlock the deep matchup data behind it. We cover every major sports league with more being added all the time. Want a parlay? Choose your book, your legs, your leagues, and how aggressive you want it. Edgeboard auto-builds the strongest ticket for you. Try it free for 7 days. After that, just $9.99 a month. Edgeboard, find your edge. Every night, thousands of player and team props hit the books. Edgeboard runs every single one through advanced simulations built on years of historical data and services the few with the real statistical edge. Tap any prop to unlock the deep matchup data behind it. We cover every major sports league with more being added all the time. Want a parlay? Choose your book, your legs, your leagues, and how aggressive you want it. Edgeboard auto-builds the strongest ticket for you. Try it free for 7 days. After that, just $9.99 a month. Edgeboard, find your edge.
All right, folks, there you have it, the Edgeboard. We're going to be going live this weekend where we're really going to be pushing this out, where you can use code EDGE to get 25% off any plan you choose, whether it's going to be a first month, a 3-month, or a first year. Lets you decide whether you want to test it, get an even better price if you want to use it for the remainder of a baseball season. That 3-month is great, lines up for if you want to use it for NFL or a basketball season, or if you want to go ahead and get the best price possible, $90 for the first year. So we're really going to hit this heavy. You're going to see here coming in the very near future. Really going to go live with this over the weekend. We've been in tester mode up till now. So just know to look for that. And let's get on to some research. So want to talk to you a little bit about last night, as I apparently got off the screen that I was on. My apologies. Again, this is why we're in testing phase as we speak. So my apologies there. Last night was one of the craziest ones ever. I mean, literally the bet I had, I would have bet that over and over again with this Cubs-Cardinals game. So we had 2 1-unit plays. We had Azzy Fudd for a 3. She doesn't hit the sweetener. She only goes for the 2-3. So we hit the 1-unit bet. Don't hit the quarter unit sweetener. I didn't look on the stats of that. She didn't hit a single 3 in the first half. So that's no good. So I'm just happy we won the bet. But that one hits. The Cardinal one is crazy. The Cubs, literally the hottest offense in baseball. I did say the variances. We weren't sure what we would get out of the Cardinal starter. He ends up having a great outing, but then they still pull him after just 5 innings because, again, he's on the trade block. So, yeah, I mean, kind of disappointing. This is kind of crazy. Well, you want to talk about outliers. He plays 37 minutes, one of our highest scoring outputs of the year, 20 points. 9 for 13 field goals, hot, right? And why did we bet her 3s? Why did we put the sweetener on it? Well, what we look at is how many 3s she took. 8, 6, 5, 8, 7. She takes 2 3s last night. She goes 2 for 2 for 3s. What the? And then the Cardinals outlier, I mean, for that game to go 0-0 into the 10th inning, then the Cubs score 2 in the 10th, only to lose this game with 3 runs to a walk and an infield hit is one of the craziest things I've seen, honestly, in a while. So I don't know why my mouse, we're having some technical difficulties here, folks. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I don't really know what else to tell you there, folks. Like, at the end of the day, wow, that's all I can tell you. Wow. Want to look at some WNBA props for July 30th. Now, again, the Edgeboard will highlight games that are the minute stats are released. So right now, right off the bat, it's kind of fooling you because it says here's some prime props, but these are all for games tomorrow. FanDuel is putting out a specific prop for the Liberty New York game, which that's not too promising, right off the bat. No elite matchups. This is why sometimes these sites also, by the way, will have you focus on a certain game. They know that maybe it doesn't line up perfectly. So sometimes when you talk about you get a boost, right? I want you to always use your boost, period. The boost are going to be for props that have to be under minus 200. So let's go ahead and highlight what we're looking to use because we have two boosts. We have an open boost on DraftKings for WNBA and a FanDuel boost. So again, we're going to start the day off with some WNBA. Anyway, back to yesterday. So we break even on our one unit plays. I told you that I loved Javier Alvarez. He literally gets his walk, doesn't hit any other prop. So again, I had two sprinkles, don't go anywhere. He hits the walk to cover that, so it wasn't a huge loss. The other play I had was Cleveland. I can't even remember who it was. He gets the single. Remember, if you recall, I said we're going to go with the single to cover in case the guy hits the home run for the big play. He hits the single to cover that. So there was a lot of break even yesterday. What pushes it to the loss? I go with Jake McCarthy. He doesn't do anything. So it was a slight loss because of that on our plays of the day, and that's where we're going to leave it. So right off the bat, for New York, we're showing that they're, obviously the team that has some favorite here. Let's just first of all look at the team matchups, because one thing you can do right off the bat is what do we think we're seeing for tomorrow? We know that Minnesota's playing against Toronto on the 30th. We got Connecticut playing Chicago tonight, New York at Las Vegas. So what are we predicting here? It looks like on an EV side of things, we're looking at New York getting good EV as a dog to beat at Las Vegas, but only a 41% chance. We're only showing Toronto with a 40% chance to beat Minnesota. So, I'm not interested in any of these money lines whatsoever. We look at things from a spread standpoint. We think that Las Vegas covers the spread, not positive EV. Minnesota, a massive spread against Toronto. Not interested. Toronto to cover the spread. I mean, they're basically calling this even money to cover an 11-point spread. Why am I looking at these things? Just to kind of get an idea of what we think's actually going to happen here. It's kind of interesting when they show Las Vegas is favored against New York, but yet we think New York has the more favorable matchups. So there you go. That might tell you, by the way, like when you talk about that, let's talk about that a little bit. New York's the only team that has 3 or 4 of their starters with favorable matchups. Interesting. So do we think that, we think that there's a 51% chance Las Vegas covers the spread. So I'm not going to fight our software. I don't know the WNBA well enough. That might be a scenario where I say New York covers the spread just because clearly we have some better matchups there. So they're thinking under. It's a very high total. This is a massively high total for a WNBA game. That's kind of interesting. These two teams just played each other, and in any type of basketball game, I will tell you that when you play the second time versus Minnesota, WNBA. The second game tends to be a closer game. So these two teams just played and it went 100-93, so 193 points. So I was going to lead to the under. I mean, playing a second time, they're not. Here's what I could tell you. If you told me the over under was 193, I'm betting the under. I'm not as sold to go 5 points under, but that's what we tend to like here. Las Vegas, New York is expecting a high scoring game over 181, which again, for a WNBA game, that's a high over. Now, again, we're only saying that that's a 44% chance to hit. But why do I look at this really off the bat is I just want to see, what does Vegas think of the games? And what do we think of these two games? We think they're pretty high scoring. So that's what's really most important here, because that tends me to say, if I'm looking at player props, that we probably go back to wanting to focus on overs. I'll be honest, I'm probably going to focus on Minnesota. They've been the best team in the league. They've been consistent. So let's talk about what props we have out there. DraftKings just has a clear prop you can use for anyone. What I can tell you for sure, I looked at this last prop. She hit it again. She barely hit it. So what's happened is Nafisa Collier is back into the lineup. She averages 21.7 points a game. So what has happened? We've seen this come back down to earth since she's been back. But the important part is she's still hitting it. So, minus 120, the software still likes it. She is still hitting it. That's one I kind of like. The other thing that I think kind of stands out that I wanted to possibly touch on, she's continued to hit threes. I mean, do we look at, I think what I want to look at is her volume of threes. That's one thing that's harder for teams to control. So even with Nafisa Collier back, what we're seeing is Kayla is doing a lot of her scoring from three. Again, her scoring last game was her lowest scoring game she's had in her last since the 10th game, right? She scored exactly 18 then. So it does make me a little nervous, especially when they're juicing this more than even money. I mean, we're clearly showing this great positive EV. What hasn't changed? Well, 11, this is going back her last 10, which, again, we show 3-pointers made over 2.5. What I like to look at is how many threes is she taking. So we're looking here, 5 of 11, 6 of 11, 2 of 8, rough shooting night, 4 of 8, 6 of 10, 3 of 6, 4 of 7. So this has also come down a little bit, but we're still looking at 6, 7 threes. I mean, this one does. I mean, here's the problem with this one. You're looking at some possible regression that's definitely occurring. So it does make me a little nervous. I will tell you that my understanding, I did a little research on the game, that one thing we also do know is that versus this team, we know that Nafisa Collier is definitely back to getting her boards. So since she's been back, we're just going to clear out any type of matchup here. We're going to strictly look at what is she doing. And they have, it looks like they possibly have bumped up the board. So she was at 5.5. She had 6, 10, 6, 6. So the fact they bumped this up, all right, this is why we look at our stats. I mean, if that's minus 139 at 6.5, okay, we passed there. It has been a mixed bag. She's stayed back. So we're going to move off of that. Now let's look at one more. Olivia Miles is, she's not as affected by Nafisa Collier. She is their guard. If we look at points, which apparently, I don't know why points are not showing up as even an option here. Let's look at her under, see why it's maybe if it's showing there. Okay. Let's look at her points against this team. So 32, 13, 11, and then went for 24 last game. Her spread remains at 18.5. So we really don't love it here. I'm sorry, we don't love the under. Yeah, we think that this has a 47. So it is odd that we're not showing this as the over. Like, why aren't we showing the over version of this? Sometimes I guess it just tries to make up its mind. Also, why aren't we showing head to head? So we continue to be a little bit on the struggle bus on WNBA stats. I admit that my point of this was to point out that she tends to be strong against Toronto. I mean, look, versus Toronto, bottom 5% against guards. So defense bottom 10% versus a Toronto lineup. The Toronto season, they've been top 25% in pace and bottom 5% in defense against guards. So what do we think there? I mean, again, I'd feel a lot better if the damn site would show us her over here. Again, I'm not sure why. Let's just throw in all stats to see if something's goofy here. Yeah, I don't know why we're not showing the points. But clearly she crushed them this last game in all stats. I mean, let's just look at this maybe as a variant. Even where she hasn't hit it much in points and assist. 32. I don't know how many assists she got. Let's see if it shows again head to head for this. It's going to update that stat. So my lean was a little bit on points for her just because I saw that, but also the point was to highlight the software, and the software is not really giving me what I need as we continue to try to work on improving the WNBA. So I think we're going to stick with just the software at this point. We're going to go with, let's see again if these show up as elite matchups. So Kayla again does show up as an elite matchup against this team. Now, again, when it talks about what's elite, she is trending down since the return. She did not. She hooked the PRA last game. I think she just hooked the 20.5, only 19, so more than a hook. She literally hooked the 23.5, which is still the bet here. I'm a little nervous to obviously play something that literally just didn't happen. I would prefer that we stick with some positive EV plays, which we do think are her points and rebounds. So that's where I'm leaning. I think that we stick with the software. I think at the end of the day, though, I'm not in love with the fact we're not getting what I would consider just off the chart plays here. So what we do here, we want to use all of our boosts, but we don't play it for a full point, even though it's boosted. At this point, what we look at, let's just throw this out there. Let's see, because we want to use this boost. Here's where basketball is not binary. Basketball has a lot of variance. So let's see what our buddies here at DraftKings think. So the people offering this will not even give it to me. I was trying to see if I could get her at 16.5, which is minus 165 on Fanatics. Bummer. That would have been the play, in my opinion. Let's get back on the site here. Let's just see if we can't. We're going to go WNBA. We're going to go to this game here with the links. And let's see if DraftKings, when you're actually on there offering this. Kayla McBride, again, so yeah, if you go down to 15, it's minus 281. So they're not really giving us an option. Again, you have to stay within 200. So admittedly, I'm not in love with this just because I see where it's trending. I see where it's been going, but we're going to go ahead and points over under. We're going to go Kayla McBride over. Okay. We're not. We're just not doing it. We're going to have to come to something else. They've pushed the bet to get the juice to 18.5. We're not doing that. All right. Well, look, I don't want to waste too much time on the video. I'm going to talk to my devs again as well while we continue to try to work on improving what we're offering to you folks. I think if we do anything, now I know that this is the DraftKings play here. I think maybe I'm going to go back to this Olivia Miles line because I did do a little research on this game. What the site is supporting is that we know for a fact that they do not guard guards well at Toronto. I don't know why we're not getting more history with Toronto, but we're going to go ahead and look at this over-under for Olivia Miles instead, who I know doesn't get as affected by the Nafisa Collier becoming more and more dominant play. And we're going to look at her 18.5 point line, which is minus 106. If we go over that, they're also not giving us a play lower than that. Again, what are we doing here? We're going backwards. We're saying she's only going to hit an under 18.5, 47.4. So let's do the math. We know that means 52.6. She's going to hit the over. So that's why we're going to go that. And we're going to go ahead and play. We're going to play this over because at that point, we're really getting good odds. All right. Now you're pissing me off, DraftKings. Do I have this confused? Do I have my boost backwards? I have my boost backwards. I'm the idiot. FanDuel is giving us the general promotion, and it is DraftKings that are making us focus on the New York game. So, a lot of time wasted there. We're going to hit Kayla McBride on FanDuel now. And let's see what this looks like between these two, because I'm not getting the boost there. So we're going to head to our WNBA game. We're going to head back to this one. We're going to head over to points. Let's see what they're talking here. So Olivia Miles and Kayla McBride. So Kayla McBride, they're not giving us, again, choices to go with reduced points, points over under. So Olivia Miles, 18.5 minus 102, even better odds. Kayla McBride, they are offering the 17.5 at minus 125. So at least here we've got the choices. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and I am a little concerned just where it's trending. We show Kayla McBride averaging 23.8 over her last 5. Olivia Miles averaging 20.2. I love the matchup with Toronto. I love the fact that they have to focus on Nafisa and our other player I just talked about. So what are we going to do here? We're going to go ahead and use our WNBA any boost plus 128. This might even be a capped boost. Yep. So it was a capped boost at $10, which for me is a half unit play. So we're going to go a half unit play on Olivia Miles over 18.5 as our first play of the day. Then we are going to go back to that New York game, because that's where we got to go hit our friends at DraftKings. My apologies, folks. And we're going to see what do we like specifically from that game. So we have placed that bet half unit on that. I think you're good on either one of those points. I think this is, again, what do we know about this game? Our software just showed high scoring game, and we're going to have a lot of offense, and we know that Toronto doesn't have good defense, right? Like, if we got any confidence from any of that, that's what we definitely got. So we're going to get out of Minnesota. So I think either one of those, Olivia Miles, Kayla McBride, points, I think you're good. You're getting a boost. So your EV is just hugely boosted there by that boost. It is a $10 cap. I think a half unit play on either of those. I'm liking that. Now, this one is another 30% boost specifically on this game. And what are we looking at again? Do we have any elite matchups this game? No. Do we have any elite unders this game? Is there anything we want to see that, like, hey, this screams under? No. Now we're going to go favorable, see what we have from an EV standpoint. Do we have anything that matches that? And again, I got to get out of these buckets. And again, nothing there on the under. Let's go to the over, and we do have several plays. So, you know, again, we're going to go with our software here. What do we see that we like? We think that Brianna Stewart stands out here. Let's look at just what are some things here that we show with her in this game. And again, this is New York versus the Las Vegas Aces. We don't show a ton of history with the Vegas except back on June 30th, she scored 25. So that already stands out as that bodes very well. We're going to let this update to the head-to-head while we do it. Las Vegas. Now, they are not Toronto. They're not the worst, but they are not top tier. They are considered top 50 defense and bottom 50% in pace. So not so good there. Look at her history against Las Vegas, 25 points last game. They did play again June 24th. She barely misses 20. 19 goes back to 2024. So we really only have 2 games history here. 20, she gets hooked. 25, she goes over. So we like the matchup. We like her recent trended data as a whole. I mean, do we like it? We kind of like it. We do give this a pretty good shot at hitting. Let's look at what she's done great lately, and that is her assist. I mean, I'm loving that this is plus money already. I don't really think I plan to put a ton into this one. 4 games in a row she's hit. She did hit this against Vegas for 4 assists. They're giving this plus money. Her head-to-head history, now that it's uploaded, 4, 4, 5. I mean, she's hit this against Vegas pretty consistently. So, I mean, what does that tell you? She's trending this one pretty well lately. We think that what happens here is Vegas probably collapses on her quite a bit. So, you know, that's a play I like. The other day we shared, and I totally apologize for this. I should have shared this earlier. We wanted to share some of our Edge report cards. So I am still trying to work on these things. I need to pull that up for you. But what were we talking about the other day? What was one of the categories that was for positive, favorable matchups that was playing well? I think that we focus on Brianna at this point, and what I want to do is possibly look at her points and assist. So, so I'm going to leave this to my devs as well. Why do we not have points and assist to show? Is because we don't have a points assist category here at the top. So we'll add that to the to-do list. PA is needed. We need our PA category. Gosh darn it. All right. Well, that's why it's not showing up. I was a little surprised that this has got me highly confused because we just talked about it being a positive graded category. So I don't know why it's not showing as an option up top. I got to be honest, I am beyond perplexed why it's not showing up. So we'll get to the bottom of that. Brianna Stewart, let's just look at some of her recent games. 7 assists, 4, 8, crushing assists lately. 33 points, 20 points, only 6 points, and 29. So, I mean, just looking at trended data, how we think she's going to get assists regardless. If we're looking at 20.5 points, then it comes down to what is this points and assists line? We think comfortably she's going to get 3.5 assists. We think even more strongly she's going to get points. She's got in her last, you know, obviously minutes are there, crushing minutes, right? Just crushing minutes. So major player in the game. We're seeing points consistently higher. She's not hitting 20.5 all the time. What about a combo of these two? Since I'm seeing her assist is kind of a big play, a big part of her offense of late. So that I think that's what we're going to focus on here, folks. We're going to look at some of these Brianna Stewart stats. We're going to go to the New York Liberty game where we do have the boost. So again, her points on DraftKings where we're specifically getting the bonus is exactly the line you see. It's 20.5. Actually, it's minus 117 on DraftKings. We're going to go ahead and look at assist. Again, this is their boost for assist. So Brianna Stewart to get for assist, they're playing plus 116. Very interesting there. Again, I love, and I should stress to you, why am I excited about this? Anytime we say there's a plus money stat that we think has over a 50% chance to hit, man, maybe I just stick with that. Let's just go back to points and assists, though. Let's see what they're offering. So for Brianna Stewart, again, what are you looking at for this is if we think 20.5 is kind of the break even, kind of close, 3.5, we kind of already think this has even better value. Then between the two, we're looking at 24 is the combo, right? This is where we're at. So a lot of times they bump that up. So they'll say 24.5. So they're saying 25 plus is minus 104. We go down one, 24. So now this is a little tactic I was trying to use on the last game. This is where I talk about basketball not being a binary game. I think this is going to be my play, and this is where we're at. They're giving a 23.5 combo of these two stats we're seeing here at minus 128. Now, it is minus 128. If I'm just alone betting, like let's say I'm big betting, it's NBA season. I got an NBA season. I got a guy, I do a lot of research, and I got a guy who's assisting the ball pretty well. I make this just a straight bet. You give me 56% sim with plus money, 9% EV all day long. This is the bet by itself. In this scenario, what am I trying to do? She has only hit the bet 60%. We know Las Vegas has decent defense. They're not great pace. So what I'm trying to do is say, well, if I have a boost, let's just come up with something that gives us the best combo sim probability. And again, a little frustrating. I don't know why PA is not showing up. We're going to work on it, but we're able to kind of deduct from her history where we're at. So when they're giving you that extra, they're knocking one off. We're saying you can knock off a point or assist, and we can get this down for her from the point assist for Brianna Stewart. They just took it away. I swear to God. This is the craziest thing ever. I look back down and it's gone. Holy shnikes. They just pulled that. I can't make this up. I look back down to click it. Is this not the craziest thing ever? Points assist. We talked about 25. They had a 24 and they pull it. UMFers. Well, there you go. It was screaming a great play. Literally screaming a great play at minus 125, and they literally yanked it off the board. All right. Wow. I should have got to it quicker. That is absolutely insane. We didn't even bet it yet. They sure as hell aren't watching this broadcast. We're not that big yet. Yeah, they literally pulled it off. That is so frustrating. We went from 25 at minus 110. They had 24 at minus 126. I think the 25 line moved also. So now it says 25 is minus 110. All right. Well, we've already spent way too much time on the WNBA. It's going on 9 o'clock Central. So we're just going back to assist. We're going back to they literally juiced it. That's as we spoke when we talk about, and this is where it talks about talking early. I was talking about Brianna Stewart plus money over this. Yeah, this all moved as we were literally talking. Her over under an assist went from plus money to minus 103. Oh my God, you jerks. All right, we're going to boost it plus 127. I mean, this is a wager you could put a full unit on. I don't love the fact that assist can, those can waver. Her recent data tells me I should feel pretty good about this. We're just going to go ahead and put a half unit on it, just like the other play. So there you go. As we're speaking and I'm pointing out the play of the day, probably would have went a full unit on points assist. They yank the 23 and a half combo off the board. They yank it and they nerf my odds as we're talking about this live. Which when you see a boost to a specific game, I probably should have realized it. I probably should have pulled the trigger quicker. FML. Wow, that was funny. Real time. All right, let's get us over to MLB. We're going to have to hit this quick here. We got a busy day here in my real life, and we still are in a testing phase. I was going to bring up our graphic for some grading from last night. We're going to get you in the habit of going through the night before. That is going to be something that I'd make a point to highlight. So what are we talking about here with our games tonight? We're leaning over in the Cardinal Cubs game over 8.5. Well, after last night, those two teams went scoreless and 9. And all right, we got to move on. I got to move on from what was the craziest thing ever. What I can tell you, ballpark factors, I'm not seeing the weather for whatever reason pulling in, but what I can say for sure is that doing my research, there was basically 4 games of highlighted for offense, 9.5 at KC and Minnesota, where we are not showing any of our data pulling in. So again, a little bit of a struggle bus this morning. I don't know why none of this is pulling in right now. But what I can tell you, hot Minnesota, decent park, but I will tell you that both these offenses have been so cold lately. I'm avoiding it for the most part. Pittsburgh at Reds. I mean, they call it one of the, obviously one of the easiest factors. So you're getting highlighted here, park and weather, 9.5 runs. It's warm, wind out to right field. Washington, Wash and Atlanta, highlighted weather. Atlanta has been a top 10 home run park over the last 10 years for lefties. We got some righties, so we're looking. That one is probably my highlight game. And then we got Boston at the A's. We got Sonny Gray pitching for the A's. Oakland's going to be going with a guy who has gotten limited pitching history. This is probably my biggest highlight game because we've got Sonny Gray versus a bad pitcher for Oakland. We've already lost Shea Langoliers for Oakland, and now we've got Nick Kurtz got hurt last night. So let's just go down right off the line here. What are some things we like? I agree with this. I think Pittsburgh focusing on us attacking Rhett Lauder. I like this. I like this as a plus EV play. I'm not making this necessarily a play of the day, but I do like what I see here, and I think we want to focus on some batters there. This Oakland at Boston line, Oakland 41% chance to win. We like it as plus EV. You can see that it's buried at the bottom, probably because if we look at the top here, this is where I think it gets interesting. I mean, basically they're saying this is even money as a 1.5 run line. I think Boston's going to destroy Oakland tonight, to be honest. That's what my prediction is. I think Sonny Gray, this Oakland lineup is in shambles. Obviously, it's a highlight as a run game. We're so big on Pittsburgh because we're even saying at a run line, you're getting good positive EV there. And then this Atlanta-Washington game, I think it's going to score runs. Let's look at some totals here. So again, we're liking the over in St. Louis, Chicago. I mean, after Andre Polani's been St. Louis's Cardinals' best pitcher consistently. That's why we like St. Louis in some of our stats. This guy here actually pitched St. Louis to 4 or 5 shutout innings recently. So I don't know if I agree with this. I think I avoid it. Scoring runs here. Yep. Scoring runs here. Yep. But I don't know about this one. Scoring runs here. Yep. So again, we're kind of back to what are our highlight games? These are our highlight games. The one that's kind of interesting, I was kind of curious. I kind of like this play. Again, what did I showed the line at 9.5. So the line maybe has moved. And it probably rightfully so. I think experts probably put some money in this. These offenses are dog shit lately. I got to be honest. And Buxton's out of the lineup again for Minnesota. So if this was under 9.5 at -115, I'd be pointing this out. It is one of the, I'll have to revisit where lines are at. Again, at this point, I really need to just look at, I just want to look at some player props, see what we have out there. What is a tool we can use here? Because at this point, I really do want to focus on just some player props that are focused on games we just talked about. So let's talk about Pittsburgh attacking Cincinnati. We'll go ahead and put Cincinnati on there just to see if anything stands out. This is a tactic I use a lot of times when I get to the point of like, I want to share you some player props. We're basically combining player props with teams I like to do some things. Now, I will tell you that I'm going to highlight one other thing. I'm going to put in here for one of my plays of the day. I want to look at this one. We're going to look at the Chicago White Sox. So we're going to move pretty quickly here. I want to see what type of elite matchups I see out of this. Who do we want to focus on? And there it is right off the bat. And I can pull this out. I mean, this guy, Sean Burke, has been on fire. And let's let some data pull in here for our alt lines. Again, we really do go out of our way to give you a ton of data. So as you see, as we're doing this, we've got some additional data getting pulled in. What we know about the Yankees right now is post All-Star against righties, which I believe is what Sean Burke is, that you are looking at one of the highest strikeout rates going right now. I want to make sure righty on the mound, 6'6", 240, behemoth of a man, throwing heat. Great K rate. We have this weighted as a great K rate for the game. Elite FIP. I mean, this guy is really on fire post All-Star game. So going to the main line, -195. So this line, this is again where I really need to get this to you earlier. This line has moved unbelievably far. I mean, this was crazy plus money earlier at 7.5. This was my ladder play of the day. Let's just see where lines, how bad they truly are real time. I think this is where I take a boost again. Hopefully we get these at least under 200 and then I use the boost. So minus over 6.5 strikeouts. On BetMGM, we can still get this at -175, 195 on DraftKings. It has moved over 200 on FanDuel. I just want to look at DraftKings with a boost. Do I have boost available? They're saying I don't. Look at this. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. We're too late. This is just bad stuff here, folks. It moved from 195 on Pickett to -207 as we pull it up. Odds have changed to -222. Holy shit, this guy is getting clobbered. All right, well, fuck. God damn it. What a day, man. I'll tell you, Vegas makes it harder and harder to win money. So we still show this as a 52% sim with EV and a plus money bet. And again, when I say I try to point out bets, we want that. So at this point, we are now stuck. We are not laddering this. We are absolutely not laddering this. We're not getting boost on FanDuel. We're down to +104 on So we can get them at plus 115 at BetMGM. By the way, one of the things about BetMGM, let's go back to this. Let's make sure BetMGM, by the way, I should have mentioned this. BetMGM is one of the slower people to move their odds. I think I said just minus 165 there a second ago, and I actually think it has moved to 175 even there. So I think it even moved with them. So sharp money is going absolutely ham on this bet. Man, is this still plus EV at 6.5? That low? It's not. But what it says minus 1.5. We are going to get them at minus 175. So we're still going to ladder this. We're going to go ahead and put a unit on this. I'm not in love with these odds. I'm not even getting a boost. The point of this was to be a boost and do it. But to be honest, I don't have a ton of plays today. And so now we're going to ladder this up. Now we go to our 7.5, and we're going to go ahead and take advantage of a FanDuel boost. It's down to plus 104, which is crazy. It was much higher than that, but we do have some good boosts today. So we do have a 50% boost available on FanDuel. That takes it to plus 156. It's a maximum wager of a half unit. So there's our ladder play of the day. Sean Burke, 6.5 and 7.5 strikeouts. Bingo, bango, placed, done. Everything tells me, like, even data-wise, it's using full season data. I absolutely love this for today. So there goes the White Sox. That was the one pick I wanted to throw out there. Now, what are we going to look at here? I want to look at specifically certain plays for Pittsburgh. I want to focus on some lefties versus righties. Again, with how the wind is going, we want to focus on Pittsburgh lefties versus Louder as one of our plays. So let's see what we got here. This is us looking for plus EV and elite matchups. Ryan O'Hearn, 296 versus righties, hits Louder's main pitch, a sinker, 371. Not as great on, sinker, not as great on the slider, but we're giving this a pitch mix average of 317. Look at how hittable this pitcher is. A hitter-friendly park, wind slightly out, weather slightly good, pen is green. I mean, there's a lot to like here. Do I like 2.5 RBIs? Of course not. So at this point, we're not going this ham on Ryan O'Hearn to go with some crazy EV matchup. What we want to see is there some bets out there still for Ryan O'Hearn as one of our focus players today? Where can we find any of his props, and what can we do with these? So positive EV. I don't really love this for 2 hits. He's not doing it consistently enough. I really don't like this for 2.5 hits and runs and RBIs. So let's let some of this data generate. Let's take a gander on this. Was there any specific history with him and Louder? No, not showing anything there. Total bases is a plus money play, but we're only giving it 44.5 chance. Let's see where we think he's going to be in the lineup. What did we predict? We're predicting he's 5th in the lineup. I do think that RBIs could come to play. And I'll be honest, we're not simming this as high as I was hoping. He's only hit 1 home run recently. I'll have to look at that. Plus 310. I was really hoping this was a 400 play. So this is sometimes where, again, you look at the stats. I was kind of pointing him out. I was planning to use him. I don't know why this reduced. I'm going to just look. Oh, it's because I did a refresh of stats. We're going to let, hopefully this is done updating. we're going to let these stats update. I'm scrolling down to this game again just to say, who are my Pittsburgh lefties that I want to attack? Because what we clearly know is this is a bum pitcher. So in other lineups, we might be wrong in our projection here. I think he's batting fourth is what my guess was going to be, that he bats fourth and not fifth. I think that makes a huge difference. I think that we actually are going to go ahead and play this. I wish the 1.5 would come up. Let's just look at some of these stats while this is working right now. I think one of the things I might be talking to my devs about, oh, here we go. 2 at bats, he bats 100. He's been walked and he hit them. So that just generated. 1.5 has now generated 53.5%. Yeah, I mean, minus 130 on this play, to me, I can get 130, 134 on DraftKings. What are you doing, software? I think I'm going to ask that we stop refreshing odds as much. I probably shouldn't have done the refresh there. There is a 30% all-purpose boost now showing up on FanDuel that wasn't showing before. I'm going to go ahead and give this that boost. I absolutely love him in this spot. I don't know why the data again refreshed and I lost the 1.5 there again. But I'm going to project he hits fourth. Now I have to admit, fifth does hurt this a little bit. Doesn't necessarily make me hate the play though. So we're going to go with the HRR at even money. We're going to go ahead and put 3/4 of a unit on that. We're not going to max out this because he hasn't been crazy hot lately, but everything in this matchup to me just screams that this is a great matchup. You're getting better odds. So we just got this at even money, 53.5% chance to hit. We'll see where that goes from there. I'm not really going to push anything else. Let me see if the home run was way off. So yeah, again, we are way off on home runs. So he is plus 473 on home run. That is where, again, I would say that as this site grows, you're going to see our data grow. We're going to get some more sources. We have a better source, much better source than that. So we are going to go ahead and give this a sprinkle. We're going to go with a sprinkle on the home run because we're getting plus 473. Anytime you're giving me plus 473 in Great America Ballpark against a pitcher that gives up power, I like it. Now, what's the why could this possibly be an issue? I probably should have looked at this. I mean, he's only giving us average stuff, right? But the launch angle's there, the sweet spot's there. He does enough. I mean, he does enough against what I consider a premium matchup. You know, he hits most of his pitch types pretty well. I mean, look, hang one sinker, we're in business. Hang you a changeup, we're in business. He hits a 4-seam fastball, 284. This is a great weighted average. So I feel very comfortable that even if he's batting fifth, but especially batting fourth, a hit run RBI to get us to make money, and then we crush money if he hits the home run. We're going to get out of this now, and we are going to focus on one other one here. But we really want to see, let's clear that out. Let's just see who else screams off the board as an elite matchup here. We've already given you a couple WNBA plays. I talked a little bit about some team plays that look good. Now let's focus on who else stands out here. They like Nick Gonzalez against him. I mean, look, the weather's going to right field. Brett Lauder stinks. He's also hit him for 333. I mean, look, all this tells me if we got righties, we're not sure if Valdez plays, by the way, which is the difference between him batting fourth and fifth, by the way. But do you see how many Pittsburgh bats are off the charts as elite matchups. I didn't even scroll. Holy shit. As I was scrolling down, I was like, I wasn't even knowing that this would be the case. Pittsburgh players. Brian Reynolds on the list. All right. So what is this telling us? This is kind of a backwards. This is what I call backwards up money line betting. What this tells me, I mean, there's also a fair share of Cincinnati players popping up, right? Out of our elite matchups, what's the theme here, folks? What is the theme? Look at all these Cincinnati and Pittsburgh players. All right. At this point, we saw the software say this before. This was a 9.5 over under. We can get this at minus 110. I am going to look around possibly to see if I have any other boost. I would lean Pittsburgh this game, even though I will admit I'm seeing a lot more on the side now of Cincinnati also. I mean, what is this saying? This game is screaming offense. I wanted to see if anything's been released yet. I will tell you that what has me a little concerned on these Cincinnati stats is while I feel pretty confident that Rhett Lauder is the starter for Cincinnati, there's definitely conflicting data on who's starting for Pittsburgh. I'm showing Yohan Ramirez, a right-handed pitcher, not Hunter Barco. So I want to hold off a little bit on this one. I'm going to leave it as do some research on this game. Over possibly Pittsburgh. Let's maybe wait till this pitcher's announced for Pittsburgh and let's see what hop on the Edgeboard as soon as the starter's announced for Pittsburgh, and let's confirm how do the Cincinnati batters face Yohan Ramirez. I think that that's a full starter to Yohan Ramirez and not just a opener. I wanted to then talk to you about Boston. So we're not seeing a ton of Boston bats pop off what are we not seeing? We're not seeing any Oakland bats, right? So again, Boston is a strong lean. Am I saying this is one of my plays of the day? Not yet, but probably will be. I'm not seeing a ton of Boston bats pop off the chart. I wanted to kind of narrow this down now to the last three here to see about what sticks out. So Austin Riley, by the way, is just dog shit. I got to be honest to you folks. I mean, if this Jake Irvin didn't suck, which even here, I mean, the pitcher K rate's actually pretty high. This might be a bet for you to look at. I mean, this guy can't hit a ball. He has struck out. Here's another, let's just talk about leans. I really got to go. 3 strikeouts last game, 3 strikeouts the game before, 2, 1, 3. In 4 of his last 5 games, he's hit this. And 3 of them, he struck out 3 times. We're going to sprinkle this. I mean, we got to sprinkle this. We're just going to go ahead and make this a play. Austin Riley is dog shit. They honestly might have to get rid of this guy. I mean, Jake Irvin, though, got any Washington pitchers are so freaking bad, but god damn, Austin Riley, if you're telling me I'm actually getting this high of odds for this guy to strike out twice, is this actually correct? You're going to give me, hold on a second. It's mad at me now because it had me on it still wants me to bet the over. We got to just look at this prop. Is it really plus 203? If it is, we're throwing a sprinkle out there right now, folks. This is a sprinkle play, plus 202 on DraftKings. It's only offered on very few sites. Sprinkle, drop to plus 200. I'm sorry, though. You're giving me over plus 2 to 1 on my money for this guy to strike out twice. And what do we know? We know we got shitty Washington pitchers, but I'll be honest, I've watched this guy bad enough. I swear to God, every time I turn around, this guy's just striking out. What is the play for Austin Riley? Strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. I mean, this guy is literally in his last 10 games, 5 out of 10 games, he has not only struck out twice, he struck out 3 times in a game in 5 of 10 games. So, I mean, I love it. It's not giving me crazy EV here, but yeah, I'll take that. All right, let's talk about Oakland. Boston at A's, 8 miles out. It is righty versus righty. Boston hasn't had a ton of hot hitters. This one, if anything, might be a focus on just simply looking at going, really targeting Sonny Gray dominance over an Athletics team that's just dog shit. This is clearly a hittable pitcher. We know that Wilson Contreras is a good bat. Why are we probably holding off? We're probably going to hold off because he's cold of late. Let's be honest. So we're not going to make him a play of the day. Look what pops up, by the way. Look what just popped up. This is hilarious. Jake Irvin strikeouts just popped up as we got more data. He's hit this 3.5 strikeouts is minus 127. And we just pointed out that Austin Riley by himself might actually be the play here. You know what? We're going to do this. This is, again, an elite matchup. Let's see if they're literally saying this guy only needs to get 3 strikeouts. And he is the full starter for Washington tonight. And I think their bullpen got somewhat taxed. Minus 135. So that line has moved a little bit. We're going to sprinkle this as just, do I have a boost? No. Well, hold on a second. Let's head down to FanDuel. I've got several boosts on FanDuel today. Yeah, rewards available. So it's minus 142 on FanDuel, but we've got us a couple extra boosts today, and we've got us another. That makes it minus 113, and it's a half unit cap. We're going to go ahead and put us a half unit on Jake Irvin because Jake Irvin is going to get half of his strikeouts by facing Austin Riley by himself as an elite matchup. There we go, folks. So we're going to then go here to favorable matchups. I really just wanted to point out Atlanta offense has been kind of interesting of late. They haven't really crushed it. Let's just look at a couple players I just wanted to look up again. Final plays of the day. And then, my God, do we got to go here. CJ Abrams. I just wanted to take a look at this versus Grant Holmes. So doesn't face Grant Holmes as well as I hoped. This is why we're not calling it favorable. Grant Holmes, number 1 pitch he throws. Abrams is not a great slider hitter. So, okay. I was curious what it looked like. Have to admit, not in love with it now that I'm looking at it. One of my favorite batters has been Michael Harris. Why did he not pop up? Kind of curious here. What's going on with my guy, Michael Harris? Again, wind is blowing out, so you would think that there's going to be more offense here. What has happened to Michael Harris? It looks like he's cooled off a little bit of late also. Hasn't really been hitting the home runs lately. Hasn't been getting the total bases lately. Career versus Jake Irvin, 20 at bats, 389. Okay, so this could be what we call our slump buster. This could be our slump buster, folks. Batting still 305 against righties. Is he struggling lately? Yes. Average FIP, definitely traffic prone whip. Weighted average 301. He's Michael Harris. Are we getting better money because of this? I got to be honest, like it looks like they're still, even with him in a slump, not really wanting to give us good odds. Folks, what I would say on this one, this is we're going to call it a day. We've given you enough plays of the day. I've given you some things to look at. I'm going to call this a slump buster for Michael Harris. Unfortunately, Vegas already thinks it's a slump buster too. It's really not showing a whole lot of EV. I mean, you got to be kidding me if that's what Harris's home run is. That is so ridiculously low. Let me again. We do. What did I tell you? We're not good on our home run data. Yeah, I mean, you can get plus 333 at BetMGM, which is well above what other folks are showing. I mean, we're only giving it a 21% chance. So weather is favorable. Let let's look at his bases. I'm not in love with Atlanta's offense lately. Yeah, so we can get minus 105 on bases. I mean, look, our data is not loving it. I think what I'm going to do is call to sprinkle here. And what does that mean? We're literally going to put a quarter unit play just that this guy is going to be, tonight is his slump bust. We're going to get Michael Harris back on track. I'm sure he's still batting towards the top of the order. They do mess with their order there. So we're going to just put literally a quarter unit on bases and a home run. Because I love the weather, it's predicting offense. And there we go, folks. So we're going to make this a play, but, you know, I also am not going to hate you if you just want to watch this one, put it that way. So there we go. Quarter unit. Don't put a ton of money in this, but we're going to call tonight the Michael Harris slump bust night. It is mixed signals. Why is it mixed signals? Because he's cold. It's pointing out cold. It's pointing out he's striking out right now. Crazy. It's pointing out that their pen is actually doing okay for Washington. It's pointing out that this pitcher actually has a decent FIP. And so that's where we're at, right? But look at the history against this guy. Come on now. And it's also Michael Harris. Sometimes you got to just also remember who the player is. And if you're going to put money on anything, there's that. I got to admit, though, why I'm hesitant to say go out and do this is we're already saying, like, look, you're not necessarily getting great EV. We are getting slightly better EV than we're talking about. And that's why we're literally making this a sprinkle more just because I want to keep my eyes. I'd like to see what happens on that. So sprinkle on bases. We're going to sprinkle the home run even lighter. Those are my plays of the day. We'll review these again tomorrow. I will share my graphic tomorrow that talks about how we graded some bets. Thank you so much. Best of luck out there, folks. Peace.